I feel like almost every person who's had like a really good idea and has pitched it to their creative team, they felt this way before. It makes total sense to them. They have the vibe. They know exactly what they want this video or this graphic or this package or this product to do and to look like. And then the team executes it. You get back the product and it looks nothing like
not even close.
Right.
That's the worst.
Known for Podcast, episode 3, take 1.
The elephant in the room is you cannot get anybody to read your mind, but you can have really good communication channels with your creative team to make sure that you are articulating your idea effectively and you're on the same page.
For sure. Yeah, you got to be speaking the same language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today we want to talk about how to articulate your ideas, and that's called essentially putting it in a brief. It's an organized way of putting all of your ideas in one place for your graphic designers, your video producers, your editors, everyone to understand what your vision is and what you want to accomplish and what the end goal is. Because at the end of the day, it's all about what it's doing for your business and for the people who are going to consume whatever it is that you're making.
Yeah.
Share a little bit more about what it's like being on the other side of that conversation as a creative.
It's not fun being on the other side as the creative. We've been there, but you get the brief or you get the direction, and the direction is so vague or overly complicated, but in terminology that just doesn't make sense or isn't defined.
I feel very vulnerable talking about this right now because our creative team is around us right now. And they know exactly what it feels like because we're typically the ones telling the creative ideas or even articulating those ideas on behalf of our clients. Mm-hmm. And so we're typically on both sides of the conversation. We're in the middle of the conversation a lot of the time.
Oh, we have meetings after the client meeting saying, okay, what do you think they're trying to say?
Right.
Because it wasn't clear.
Yeah. And so we know what it feels like. I feel like what we're going to talk about today, I hope our team will hold us accountable to some of these things too. I want to say we practice them. I know we could do better. I think every creative leader could do better in this area because it's all about communication. And so hopefully the takeaway today is how can you communicate your ideas more effectively? Because I think what every creative person wants the visionary to know is we want to execute great ideas. Like we're on the same team. We want to make your idea work. It's just a matter of understanding what it is.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about a brief. A creative brief is essentially how you organize your idea and get it into the language that will communicate what your creative team, what your graphic designers, what your copywriters, what your video producers, what everybody who's involved in this project needs to know in order to accomplish that idea and to meet that end goal. So just a couple things to think through. When you have this idea, you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, okay, I'm going to have a meeting the next day. This is what we're going to talk about. So number one, you want to articulate the goal of this idea really, really well. Okay, so if you want to film a commercial, what is the end goal of this commercial? Are you going to turn it into ads? What platforms are those going to run on? And you may not even know all of these answers, but these are really good questions to even ask your creative team or your marketing team. Talk these things through because when you're talking to a producer or an editor, they're listening to this conversation about goals and thinking, okay, this is how we're going to need to frame this. These are the different types of equipment we're going to need. This is what the budget is going to have to look like. We're translating all of this in our heads, and we can articulate these things back to you, information that you are going to need in order to make those decisions. Any other things that you can speak of from like a creative who's like listening to those end goals? How we're kind of translating that real time.
Knowing the end goal gives us the direction to run.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we can steer the team. That's where we can bring the right team members in. And that's literally the first thing on top of the brief should be what the title of the project is and what the goal is, what you're going to do with it.
Right, because you don't want to run into a situation where you have this great idea for this amazing project that ends up being, your entire creative or marketing budget for that quarter, and then you don't have any budget left to do anything with it. You want to make sure you understand your goals so that your team can pace themselves and the idea can really play itself through to the platforms that you need to get it to. So it needs to go to a landing page. If this is for a product, articulating those goals or at least having conversations about those goals with your team is going to really help you communicate your idea and get it to go where you need it to go.
Oh, and it's a stopgap for your team as well, for the client's team, because we get projects where one department will hire us and say, hey, go shoot this, go capture this for us. And then somebody else entirely is like, oh, this is what we want edited out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what we were told a week ago or 2 weeks ago when you booked us. And so getting it on paper, getting it in a document, getting it in front of everyone's eyes that's on your side or on the client side, it's that last stopgap like, oh yes, this is what we're doing. This is what it's going to be. And everyone's on the same page before we get to anything creative.
I can speak from the perspective of having a big idea and a team member has come to us and said, hey, can we meet about this? Can I just ask some questions? Yeah. It really helps get on the same page.
It does.
We have a couple more things that you need to make sure you have on your creative brief when you're talking to your team. But in case, because you're definitely not writing this down right now as you're listening, we have all of this in a document for you that you can download. You'll find it in the show notes. It's essentially a get it out of your head guide so you can articulate your idea and help your team get on the same page with you and really accomplish your vision. Okay, so you need to articulate your goals. The next thing you want to really talk through is the emotion that you want to convey.
The emotion at the end of the day is what it's all about.
Sure.
The emotion is what drives people to buy your product, to connect with your organization, to take the next step, to do something deeper, to do something more, to become a part of your ecosystem. They have to feel a reason why. They need to feel the want, feel the push, feel the heartstrings, the tugging. It comes down to story, of course.
Right.
But defining what that overall emotion is helps you set the project on the right path from the get-go.
And it's not just the emotion that you want to feel when you're watching it or when you are seeing the final product. It's the emotion that your audience, your customers they're going to feel. You're thinking about the pain points that they're experiencing and feeling real time as they're consuming whatever it is. Social media content, video production, whatever it is. And that's all the baggage that they're bringing into their experience. And so you're thinking about those emotions, pairing it with the emotion that you're bringing in this experience. So if it's something that's supposed to be motivational, that's something that your creative needs to know so they can make it really fast paced, that they're thinking through the transitions and the type of music. If it's something that, like you said, heartstrings.
Yeah.
Again, the goal is first and foremost the thing you want to talk about first before you decide on the emotion. Because if this is something that your customer is investing in, it needs to be, if it's something that's personal to them, that's going to have a big emotional piece in the storyline. If it's something that is going to take their business to the next level, that is something that you need to think about when it comes to the emotions that they're feeling, the momentum that they're wanting to lead their company in. So that's a really, really big part of the creative brief that you want to convey. How's it going to change their life? How's it going to change their future? What's next for them? So, oh my goodness, so many emotions that are in play here to think through.
So the goal is where it's going. The emotion is how they get there.
Yes.
And then what else are we thinking about?
So something that, and I know we have some differing opinions on this. I always think it helps when you have a big idea. Most of the time when founders, CEOs, if you are bringing an idea to your creative team, it's very, very likely you've seen this somewhere else. You've seen someone do something similar and it inspired you, it inspired your idea, and that's inspiration that you really need to share with your creative team, because it will help your designer, your producer, your editor, your copywriter get on the same page to know where you're coming from. What's the context of this idea? And as a creative myself, I do feel like most of the time, people are just copying each other and being influenced by each other. I mean, we are, as creatives learn and grow in their skill, they're learning from all these other different influences. And so it's just kind of this combobulation of influence and inspiration anyway. So I think inspiration is important.
Oh, inspiration is absolutely important. I think there's a difference between inspiration and straight copying.
Of course.
So,
yeah, I'm not making it really clear. We're not telling you to just copy the thing that you just saw yesterday on social media.
But that's a lot of the time, that's the direction we get, or the instruction we get from clients, is it needs to look just like this.
Mm-hmm.
I always try to push back with the authenticity matters. If that's not who you are, if you're not driving it, it's not going to click and it's not going to connect. Being authentic to who you are as an organization, as a brand, as a personality is going to connect and drive more results than looking like your competition or your inspiration, like dot for dot. So I think there's room for inspiration. Every artist, every creative is inspired. But if it just washes out the authenticity and you look the same as everything else,
Mm-hmm.
if your business or your organization starts to look the same on social as the competition across the street, there's not going to be any reason for them to come visit you.
Yeah.
Because it's clear they're leading the way.
I will push back on, I wouldn't say push back. I'd say there's a balance between finding authenticity and like really pursuing that.
Sure.
And perfectionism. I just think sometimes you get close enough to authenticity as you can.
Sure.
While relying on inspiration without copying. There's something to be said about done versus perfect.
Yes.
Maybe that's a different conversation. Maybe that's a tangent, but I think there's room, there's a little wiggle room there for flexibility.
There is. I will say on the brief, getting back to like the inspiration or the aesthetic,
Mm-hmm.
if you're at the point where your organization is writing briefs because they're bringing in outside creatives, you have a creative team, you're leading them, first boils down to the brand guide.
Yeah.
If you don't have a brand guide, you need to get one. If it's just you and you're a solopreneur and you're kind of running everything, it can live in your head for a second, but you need to get it on paper. You need to get it formalized. You need to have, again, if it's not perfect, that's okay, but it needs to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Just pick the colors, pick the fonts, get the logo, don't change it week to week. You need to repeat yourself and be visually identifiable for the next 6 months to 6 years.
Yeah.
Because your audience is just they're gonna think they found somebody new every time they see you, and they're not gonna connect and be like, oh, I saw them last time.
Oh yeah. It's going to hit your social media engagement for sure.
And so that's gonna be the first thing that informs your aesthetic to any creative. They have a brand guide. Okay, I'm living inside this world,
Yes.
and I get to create inside these rules.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, quick favor while you're listening. If you're enjoying the show, hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. And if you even get one nugget of value today, share it with a friend or leave us a quick review. Thanks for being here. Now back to the show.
You want to make sure you articulate goals, emotions, aesthetic. You also want to make sure you articulate what success looks like. So what are the results that you're after? What are the KPIs that are important? And that might be sales, but it might not be. Think about quantitative and qualitative data. It might just be clarity.
Mm-hmm.
You might just want a really clear message about a new product that you have. You might just want consistent messaging. So articulating what those results are going to look like, what they're going to feel like, there's lots of different ways to talk about results. But your team needs to know that so they can make a better product. It really impacts the process, efficiency, and the end of the day product.
And you got to define the specifics of it, because if you say, okay, I want to sell more things and grow the audience and have everybody recognize me and have consistent content as like proof of life and increase my SEO and do this.
Oh man.
You're going to do a bad job at all of those things,
Right.
most likely, with trying to create a single piece of content to achieve all of those goals.
Yeah.
So pick what's important, and anything else that kind of comes along with it is a bonus, because all those things can increase.
For sure.
But if your goal is to drive sales, there's some strategies that will do that, but they might not grow your audience overall.
Sure.
If your goal is to have like a really clean aesthetic, that's great, but that also might not be the most viral content you're going to make.
Right.
And so you got to think through what the end goal is and then trust your creative to help get you there.
You have a lot to say about trusting creatives.
I do. My history goes back starting as a person fulfilling all these briefs or trying to get something out of somebody's head without a brief.
Right.
And just kind of figuring it out. My advice is, if you're in this position as a creative director, as somebody calling the shots, ordering the campaign, trust your creatives. You're giving them creative direction. It's in the name, it's in the title. But direction means you're telling them the goal and you're going to trust that they're going to know how to get there. Because the flip side of that is a micromanaging, dragging them along. It's not giving them direction. It's you controlling every single little aspect and getting so down to the nitty gritty that you might as well be doing it yourself.
Oh, for sure.
Because
yes.
And that's fine, but also just do it yourself. Like save the budget, save the time. It takes so much more time. It's so much less efficient. And it's at the end of the day, a worse product to treat somebody like their Photoshop and like try to move every little thing around to get it to exactly where it needs to be. As opposed to like, I'm hiring somebody that's a better, if it's graphic design, I'm hiring somebody that's a better designer. We have designers on our team that are on our team. Like I started off in graphic design. We hired better graphic designers than me as we grew. And we give them direction and we trust that they're going to get there. And the same goes for every creative field. Copywriters, video, you name it. Like it's nice as a director to be able to speak those languages, but ultimately putting the great team together to achieve it takes it way farther than I'm going to by myself.
Yeah. I also want to speak to somebody who's listening to this and like hearing us kind of talk through all of the different things that you want to say to articulate your idea. And you might be thinking, that's a lot of work. A solid creative director should be able to ask all of these questions and get it out of my head for me.
Yes.
And they should. But if you can open up that communication channel even more, you're going to have a better working relationship with your creative director, with your marketing director, with your team. If you can front load all of that at the beginning and think about that to better articulate your idea, it's going to make a better product in the long run. So yes, a creative director and a creative team, a creative person who's really good at their job is going to ask all these questions, is going to want these answers from you. But if you think about this at the beginning and you open up that channel of communication, you're going to nurture that relationship. And at the end of the day, it is all about having a strong relationship with your team because that will lead to better work. So thinking through all of those things will give you a creative brief, and that will set your creative team up for success. We also want to talk about what happens when, let's say you follow this process and you build a creative brief and you have articulated your idea to your team. You feel like you're on the same page, and then you get back the first concept and it looks nothing like what it's almost like you might feel like you didn't have the conversation or something's just like off. And it might feel disappointing because you really put in a lot of effort. You felt like you were on the same page. It's not the end of the world, okay? That just means that your creative leader or your creative director or whoever you were talking to just had a different idea of what it was supposed to look like. So we kind of came up with a framework for how to give feedback that will help you get back on the same page. And it's really similar to thinking through goals, emotions, aesthetic, results. But because I have a background in teaching, I always think of sentence starters to help like tricky conversations. And so what I always start off with is, here's what works. The font, the colors, the music, the transitions, anything that you can point out that really, really works, that you actually like, that you want to keep, talk about it. It really helps. If anything, it really helps you articulate what it is that you want by identifying those things. And then point out what doesn't work. Here's what works. Here's what doesn't work. Then you can point out the specifics. Just get as specific as you can.
Specifics the key, because we get feedback sometimes it's like, it's just not right. It's not the right vibe.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How many times have we heard, this is not resonating with me?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
And that's great. I was like, I'm sorry it doesn't. What would resonate with you?
Right.
And
well, okay. And see, that's the other things to say is more this, less this.
Yes.
If it's not resonating, say this feels too corporate or this feels too cheesy. You can be honest.
Add because.
Add because.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes, because those words, there's a very real chance it means something different to somebody else.
Yes.
We do a lot of corporate video, and so we get asked to make it more corporate or less corporate. But does that mean less energy? Does that mean more energy? Does that mean it's a little too clean? Does that mean the music's a little dated? And we actively avoid using those selections unless they're given to us.
For sure.
It's that word because. So this feels too corporate because the colors don't pop. They're not as vibrant as I wanted. Okay, that's something we can probably adjust. Yeah.
So I mentioned this earlier. I think even saying more this, less that, or more motivation, more energy, less, less heartstrings. Something like that could be really helpful to hear.
Yes.
Just kind of differentiating between what it is now and what you want it to be.
Yes.
I think that can be super helpful.
Yeah, it's clear, it's achievable, it's something that a creative team can run with and get you results a lot faster.
And then I think one more way to put it is, if it's not meeting your expectations and you've given all this feedback, ask your creative team to take another pass at it with this in mind, with a certain inspiration or aesthetic or an example in mind.
Yes.
Because sometimes having that example or like really, really strong notes or feedback, telling them to keep that at the forefront of their mind in this next pass can really, really help with the next concept they present.
For sure.
So that will really help with feedback, and just make sure that you are keeping that communication open, really ensuring that you are articulating your idea effectively and following up, even like rebriefing your team again, because conversation and communication, those are really, really strong in the creative process. They need to be really, really strong in the creative process. And whether or not you see yourself as this way or not, if you are the founder or the CEO, if you are the decision maker in this project, you are a part of the creative team, whether or not you would consider yourself a creative. So consider yourself that, and that will come across when you're having these conversations and articulating your ideas. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think one little addition, one handy little cheat code, our download, the creative brief. If you upload that into the AI of your choice, and then like if you're having trouble filling that out on your own, take the PDF, upload it, and then do the brain dump into the chatbot of your choice.
Yeah.
Go nuts. You can talk it out loud if you need to, and just put in everything you think it can and say, please make this clear and please make it fit these guidelines. And it's going to help you hone in on, and you'll still need to revise it. It's not going to be perfect, but.
You can also share the PDF with your creative director and your creative team, and they can build out the creative brief for you. We write briefs for our clients all the time.
Yeah, we do some briefs, and we for the majority, we get that direction and we turn it into briefs that are actionable
to communicate with our team.
Yeah.
But your creative director or creative team would benefit from this checklist too, and using that to help them guide their side of the conversation too. They'd come to you with really good questions after this brief, like after articulating what they know and the knowledge they have from your idea in the brief. So yeah, it's a great resource for everybody. Everything we've covered today, hopefully it was helpful to help you kind of get that idea out of your head into some action points that you can, or some conversation points that you can have with your creative team, your marketing team, whoever is going to come alongside you to bring your vision to life. Remember, clarity is everything. Be as specific as possible. Bring your team in so they can be invested in the end goal and the results that you're after, because everyone's on the same team. Everyone wants what you're after. And so build that investment, invest in the relationship by having those crucial conversations, be honest, and just remember, if you get back something that's just not quite right or not perfect, it has nothing to do, it does not line up with your vision. It is not the end of the world. You're going to make it happen. Your team's going to get you there.
Yeah, your creative team isn't bad. They just can't read your mind.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
even though we all want them to sometimes, it would be really nice. Believe me, your creative team wants to read your mind really badly. It just doesn't always happen that way. Thanks so much for listening to this podcast episode. Hopefully you were able to get some really good takeaways that you can take back to your team. And if this is something that is helpful to you, you've learned some stuff from this podcast, would you like and subscribe? That really helps us reach more business owners, creative directors, and helps us serve more people. And maybe share it with someone else who thinks like you do and has a similar approach to their business and style. Also, if you have feedback for us, ideas for topics you want us to talk about, or questions you want us to answer, please leave a review. That also helps us reach more listeners and just helps us know what kind of conversations you'd like us to be having with you. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you'll join us next time on the Known For podcast.
Known For is a Griffith Media podcast recorded on the volume wall at Big Screen Studios in Dallas, Texas. This episode was produced by the Griffith Media team. Find out more about our agency, how we can help your business grow through marketing, video, and design at www.griffith.media. Or find out more about the studio at bigscreentx.com.